The idea for this episode came to me a couple of years ago when I was at the gym. It was Saturday or Sunday, and I was heavy lifting for 3 hours. And there was this guy, this trainer at the gym, and I saw that he was pushing really hard that day. I mean, he was heavy lifting. He didn't feel like it, but he still did it. And his face just showed how he suffered. And I couldn't help myself, but I asked this question. His name is Andre, and I said, Andre, how do you motivate yourself to do a set when you don't want to? Okay. He looked at me like this. He said, I don't know what motivation is. People ask me all the time, how do I motivate myself, or or should they motivate themselves? But I do not have answer to that question because I don't know what motivation is. I know that if I need to do the set, I do the set. I just have series of repeatable actions that I need to take. I was not expecting that life wisdoms just spilled at 2 in the afternoon at the gym, randomly on some weekend. I looked at him and then I started just developing this idea in general because this is how I live my life. But how you do something, but then someone comes in who actually explains the same idea and justifies it in a very special, unique way. So I started just doing my research on motivation because I needed to find out what it was, when it was implemented. Came across a paper that is called Theories of Motivation, and it's a comprehensive analysis of human behavior drivers. So there are 8 theories of motivation. Okay, not one, not two, 8. An instinct theory, arousal theory, incentive theory, extinct theory, the ARCS model, self-determination theory, expectancy value theory, and goal-oriented theories. And in the past, the whole concept of motivation was in theories. I mean, it was not taken seriously by any researchers or people in general. Nichols in 1989 defined motivation as the processes that arouse, direct, and maintain behavior toward a specific goal. Weiner in 1992 also came up with a definition of motivation that forces to initiate, energize, direct, and sustain behavior and towards some specific goal or reward. Best definition of motivation that I found doing my research, it's by Dwight Eisenhower. In 2013, he wrote, motivation is the art of getting people to do what you want them to do because they want to do it. And I think that this is the most genius thing that anyone said about motivation, not from the internal, but from the external point of view. Motivation is making people do things that they don't want to do, that you want them to do, as if they want to do it. Oh my God. And that was actually once again, I did this research in summer, and that was crazy for me because I figured out what this motivation industry is all about and what this online coaches and gurus who constantly tell you and point your attention to, if you want something, you need to actually dive deep into your feelings, into your motivation. You need to find out your purpose. You need to find out this bigger self, that makes people question things a lot, things that they just should be doing, just like Andre was doing his set. He just knew that he had to do the set and he did it. It's like a journey of 1,000 steps begins with this first step, but people were hypnotized into not doing anything unless they feel motivated. Can you imagine how genius it is to stumble the entire population and entire generation and make them question everything that they do before they take action? When in 2008, there was a real estate market crash and the pension funds were wiped off, what happened is that people lost the faith in the future. They started questioning everything. And this motivation thing that was actually designed to make people do what the top guy wants them to do as if they want to do it. This combination became a perfect source of manipulation for masses. Concept of motivation makes you question yourself every single day. Like, for example, if I decided to train for a marathon like I did last year, when you're training for a marathon, it's a 1 year thing. Okay. If you're doing it right, I don't know. People sometimes are training for a marathon in a month. That's not me. I want to leave. I want my knees, okay, in my 70s, and so I trained for it for a year. I thought about it before I decided to run a marathon. Okay, it's not like it was a spontaneous decision. I sat down, I did my research, I figured out what I want to do, why I want to do it in general, like, for my body, for my health, that I want to express myself. But then I stopped questioning at all, like, why I do what I do. And when I was running in cold, when I was running in snow, when I was running in heat, when I was running while I was sick, yeah, all of these things happened. And actually, I ran my marathon on the third day after I got really sick. Okay. And I still was able to do a perfect 404 result. I'm really proud of it. What this motivation industry does is every day when you wake up, it makes you question yourself. So it's like a drug. It makes you feel good. The next day, the dopamine drops. After that dopamine hit, it drops. And then you start questioning, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? I need new answers. I need new coaches. I need new Tony Robbins motivation course. And I need that every single day and every single time. While 50 years ago, no one talked about motivation. And lots of great things were invented back then, were created, invented when people did not question how they felt today about this whole thing, or do they have this big purpose today? I don't believe in motivation, but I do believe in driving force. And I think that those two are different because the driving force is one for your entire life. And I'll explain what this means in a second. Motivation changes all the time. It's like a wind. Can blow here, it can blow there. Driving force is the major direction that forces your action. And I wrote the whole book about it, which is Survivors, Inventors. Now it's Insurance Broker Edition, but I'm finishing the general edition that doesn't have so much of insurance cases in it. Although I can tell you that even people who have no connection to insurance world whatsoever still enjoy it. There are two types of people. Okay. There are survivors who preserve what works, and there are inventors who are constantly chasing what's next. And I'm not going to dive deep into these two types today. You can go to my website, prospectingbroker.com, and download the first 50 pages of the book. I talk a lot about that two types behavior. Once you identify yourself, who you are, you will find out how you behave in very extreme situations. With survivors, in order to make them move for anything, they need to be put in a situation that is inevitable. Change is inevitable. If you're a survivor, like 80% of people are, I am a survivor too, by the way, then you preserve and perfect what works well. Which means that shiny, bright new thing is not driving you when the change is inevitable, when you cannot go around it. When you put yourself in a situation, in extreme situation, where growth or change or whatever is your only option. There is no other option. It's either there or nowhere. And I know that it's very difficult to create this kind of situations in your day-to-day life, but there's micro, over time you're gonna learn it. It's micro stressful situations when you cannot go back, and you're making certain decisions where you cannot go back. That's how you make changes in your life. Now, inventors, on the other hand, they are constantly looking on what's next. They're looking into the future, building the bridges to the future. Survivors are preserving the present and making sure that this present doesn't break. Inventors are thinking what's next. Nature created it that way, okay? Because as human beings, if you're constantly chasing a shiny bright little thing and you're thinking about the future, then you cannot feed your tribe, you cannot feed your kids. We would go extinct if we were all inventors. But at the same time, nature is always changing, and it's a changing environment where people should be changing as well, and people should be predicting. You need to find out who you are, because from inventor's standpoint, if he will be trapped in the situation, in the inevitable situation, then inventors just freeze. That's why some people, when they listen to quite aggressive messages saying that you have to do this now, it's like, with scarcity and all that, they just freeze, they just back off, because they're inventors and they get scared and they're paralyzed, because they in that kind of situation they cannot see the future, they cannot build the future on their terms. And for inventor, the building future on their terms is absolutely necessary for any action to take. So, going back to the topic about motivation, if you're stuck, especially now, it's the beginning of the year, lots of people are questioning, like, how am I going to plan this year, what I'm going to do, what are my big goals, and you still got time. But you need to figure out whether you're survivor or inventor, whether you spent your life preserving and perfecting what already works, or you're constantly chasing to what's next. And that's how you figure out your driving force. And then you can adapt it to your current goals. Like, for example, if you're a survivor and you want something, you're putting yourself in position where you cannot not get it. If you're an inventor, you're starting imagining the future with this, and you're starting building your future around this thing that you want. And trust me, this is consistent. And most importantly, this is something that works in both short term and long term. Motivation is a made up word. And I want to repeat this phrase again, that motivation is not something that was made up for you. It was something that was made up by and promoted by the big guys against you. According to Dwight Eisenhower, motivation is the art of getting people to do what you want them to do because they want to do it. By the way, Zig Ziglar defined motivation as fuel necessary to keep the human engine running. So now you know. Motivation is a beautiful tool for manipulation. And you should focus on first studying yourself, and then on your driving force and building your infrastructure around it. Motivate yourself in the right, healthy way. That's avocado in motivation.